Where we are? We are discussing something, right?
Yes, sir.
Class frequency.
So where we left?
Classification, table form.
Tabular forms.
Tabular
So how
forms.
to, yes, sir, how to represent tabular form? How to make tabular
Yes.
form?
Okay, very good.
Yes, sir.
So we have already discussed something regarding simple representation of a table, and now we are discussing the group representation of data in table, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So this is the data set we have already discussed, and in this group we have created a different group. We have already done this one. Okay. So how we created the group? We learned this one. Okay. Okay.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
This time I will discuss 20 minutes, and you will have another 10 minutes for your query. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
So I need your attention and interaction continuously.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So this is the table we have already created. How to create the table? We have already decided the group. To decide the group, number of group we'll have to decide first. How many group we'll have? It should not be too narrow or too wide also. The group interval, and the group should be decided based on the range, data range, from minimum to maximum, which is the range divided by the number of group we want. Okay, so in this case we have 8 different group and corresponding frequency. So there are different terminologies associated with this particular group representation of data in table. So we are going to learn this different terminologies now. The very first one is class interval. So this is very first one is known as, this is a class, this is another class. The class interval is the difference between the upper limit and lower limit. So there is always a boundary, upper boundary and lower boundary, and the distance between upper boundary and lower boundary is known as the class interval. If there is any class for which either upper boundary or lower boundary absent, this type of class is known as open class. Okay, open end class. Otherwise it is a closed end class. Okay. Our next term is class frequency. The class frequency is the number of occurrences, as I already discussed. Frequency is the number of occurrences for a class. So here class frequency indicates the number of observations for particular point of interest. Next one is total sum, is the total frequency of the total sum of the frequencies indicates the total sum frequency. And last one is class limit. So we left here, I think, right? We have discussed up to this point, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, we are done.
Yeah.
Okay. So our next point is class boundary. What is class boundary here? So we know that 16 to 20, this is a class. Okay. This is a class. Then 16 is the lower class limit and 20 is the upper class limit. So in between this class, so we'll have to produce a boundary, like area of the class surrounded by a boundary. So what will be the boundary here? So how we decide the boundary? So we observe that the next boundary, next class is 21 to 25, right? Next class is 21 to 25. Now look here. In this case also we'll have to decide a boundary. So to decide the boundary, we'll have to check the distance between the classes. Distance, how we calculate the distance here? Distance is, this is A and is 20, upper class limit of the particular group, minus the lower class limit of the next group. Okay. So this is, we can define in another way, the lower class limit of a particular group minus the upper class limit of the preceding group. Okay, preceding group. So which is 20. This 21 is the lower class boundary for this lower class limit for this class, and 20 is the upper class limit for this class. So difference is 1 unit. Okay. So how we decide the boundary? This one is associated with 20 this group as well as this group. So we will simply divide this into two categories. So this will be half. Okay. So if we decide this in terms of D is the distance between the group, then this will be half D. Okay. Then how we decide the lower class boundary here? So lower class boundary will be the lower class limit minus half of the D. Okay, half of the distance between the class. For this particular group, lower class boundary is this one, and upper class boundary will be 20 beyond this 20. Okay, 20 plus half D. You got it? Where D indicates the distance between two class boundary.
Yes, sir.
So is that clear to you, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Clear?
Yes, sir.
After lunch, you are getting slowed. Slow down. Okay. So no
So
problem.
we didn't have lunch, sir.
Oh,
So we
didn't-
don't have energy
Okay. When will have the lunch?
after the class, sir.
After the class. Okay. So then I will quit very soon. Okay. So this is the class boundary. We'll have to decide in this way. Look here. This is lower class boundary will be the lower class limit for a particular class minus half of the distance. Again, upper class boundary is the upper class limit for a particular class plus half of the distance. Okay. Basically, if 16 to 20 is our class, 16 to 20 is our class, ये वैसे है जैसे हमारा एरिया को पूरा एंड तक हम लोग बाउंड्री देते हैं, सेम कहानी है. Okay. So this is our area and we'll have to keep the boundary beyond this area. This will be our actual area. Okay. So from 16 there will be boundary in the below point and 20 boundary in the up point. So that's why it is plus and minus. Okay. D indicates the common difference between upper class of any class with the lower class of the next class interval. In this case it is 1. So upper class limit for 16 to 20 class will be, upper class boundary will be 15.5 and lower class boundary will be 20.5. Sorry, lower class boundary will be 15.5 and upper class boundary will be 20.5 for this particular class. If we consider this class again, then it will be 21 minus of 0.5, that means 20.5. Okay, lower class boundary and upper class boundary will be 25.5 for the next class. This is one class and this is another class. Okay. Our next point is class mid value. So we have the class. Okay, we have the class 16 to 20. 16 to 20. This is one class. So if we are going to take the class mid value, what we can do? We can simply take the average 16 plus 20 by 2. That means lower class limit for a particular class plus upper class limit for the corresponding class divided by 2. This will give the class mid value. So in this case it will be 18. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This is the formula. Okay, for next class it will be 23 and so on. Okay, this is very simple. Okay, next one, class width. Class width indicates the width of the class interval is the difference between the class boundaries. Class boundary, actually we have decided the first one is we have decided this term, right? Class interval. Class interval is the difference between the lower class limit and upper class limit. Okay. And class width is the difference between the lower class boundary and upper class boundary. For the first class, we have decided the class boundary is 15.5 and 20.5. Right? 15.5 and 20.5. So what will be the class width here? What will be the class width? 20.5 minus 15.5. Class width will be 20.5. This is the difference, not the class limit. Okay, difference between the class boundaries. 20.5 minus 15.5. It will indicate the class width for a particular class. This is the end point. That means this is 5. Okay.
Yes,
Is
sir.
that clear? Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Look, upper class boundary minus lower class boundary, class width. For the first one, it is 5. For second one also it is 5. 20.5, 25, 20.5 and 25.5. Okay, and so on. This is class width. Next one is group frequency, frequency density. How we compute the density here? Anyone, do you have any idea what do you mean by density? What do you mean by density? Anyone?
So the class frequency by total frequency.
No. Density in common sense. In physics, you have learned, I think. What is density?
The volume.
Volume.
The basic unit of volume.
Only volume.
What's density, sir?
Mass per unit
Not
volume.
volume, but anything.
Mass per unit volume, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How we measure gram per meter cube, gram per centimeter cube, like this, right? Mass per
Yes,
unit
sir.
volume.
Yes.
Okay. So density is mass per unit volume. The same concept here also, frequency density. Okay. How we compute the density here?
Mass per unit volume.
Yes. How we compute the density here? We have the class frequency. Earlier, how we compute the density? Density is total mass. Mass of the product divided by volume. Mass by volume. This is density, right? So in this case, we can consider the mass as the class frequency. Mass as the class frequency and volume should be the total frequency. Total के respect में कितना है? Okay. So in the very example, we have considered this one as so it is the ratio between the class and frequency for a particular class divided by the class width. Okay, class width. So in density, what we learn? Mass by volume. In this case, our frequency will be the mass, class frequency, and volume will be the width of the class. Okay. So for the very first one, 16 to 20 category, 16 to 20 class, we have the class width of 5. We have already computed, right? Class width of 5. And
Yes, sir, we did.
frequency for this particular category is 1. You observed here. Look. This one. So in this case, class frequency is 1 and class width is 5. So the density will be, class density will be 1 by 5, which is 0.5. Okay. 0.2. Look, so this is 1, class frequency is 1 and class width is 5, so 0.2. Okay, frequency density clear?
Yes, sir.
The third class boundary is 3. Look, this is 3. 3 is the class frequency for the third class and 5 will be the class width again. So this will be the class frequency density. Okay. Next one is percentage frequency. How we compute the percentage? Simple, very simple. This one, class frequency divided by total frequency. Okay, expressed in percentage. Total frequency 50 for the first class. Class frequency is 1. If we consider this 16 to 20 class, okay, So in this case, our class frequency is 1 and total frequency is 50. Then if we consider it as 100, convert it as 100, then it will be 2%. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ratio of the class frequency to total frequency expressed in percentage. Okay, this is the formula. Then cumulative frequency. In case cumulative frequency can be of two different types. One is less than type cumulative frequency. Another one is greater than type. Less than type. Another one is greater than type. Okay. Now, how we compute this two different frequency here? Look, move to the table. Okay. Look here. If we are talking about less than type frequency, the formula is cumulative frequency we have already discussed. How we compute the cumulative frequency? Can anyone tell me? Anyone?
Sir, so for the first one it will be 1, then for the second one it will be 1 plus the previous frequency, so 2.
Yes,
Then,
then
Sir, sum total
Then
of all
two.
observations.
okay. So if we are going to compute the frequency first, I am just drawing a line here. Okay. So we are going to compute the cumulative frequency. So very first one is rule is the frequency of this particular class plus the cumulative frequency of the previous class. Okay. So for this there is no previous class, so the cumulative frequency will be 1 for this particular class. Okay. For the next class, again the frequency of this particular class plus the cumulative frequency of the previous class. So this is 1 and this is again 1. So 1 plus 1 is 2.
so 2. Yeah.
Okay. For the third one, it is
5.
this plus
5.
3 plus 2. Okay. 5.
Yeah.
Then
10.
10. Very good. Very good. Then
26.
26.
36.
36.
47.
47.
50.
47.
50. Very good. So we know that how to compute the class frequency here. Okay. So the way we are computing this class frequency is known as less than type class frequency. Okay. Less than type cumulative frequency. This is known as less than type cumulative frequency, where we start from the first group. Okay. And another one is greater than type class frequency, cumulative distributions. In greater than type cumulative distributions, we start in the reverse way. We start from the last group. We start from the last group. So in this group, this is cumulative frequency will be 3. Okay. Then it will be 14. This is greater than type, 14. Then 24. Look, this is 3. 3, there is no last. Then it will be 3. Okay. Then 3 plus the previous class frequency will be the cumulative frequency for this class. Okay. Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Basically,
Yes,
going reverse order.
In reverse order, yes. This is
You added up
24. Then this will be
That's
how
more
much?
than this and less than.
Yes, more than yes. Then
40.
40,
yes.
then 45.
Very good, very good.
45.
45.
48.
49.
49 and 50.
And 50.
Very good.
50. Half century.
So, I hope it is clear to you everyone. If
Yes,
there
sir.
is
It is
any
clear.
doubt,
Yes, sir. Clear.
Put out, sir.
Yes, sir. Answer.
so we can compute the greater than type cumulative frequency in another way. This 50 will be simply write it here.
Yes.
Okay.
And subtract it.
Then subtracting. For the next one, cumulative frequency will be 50 minus this one. This is 49.
49.
Okay.
48, 45, 40, the same order. Same number.
48, 49 minus 1, then it will be 48. In this way.
Yes.
Okay.
Same order.
Then 48
Numbers
minus
are
3,
the same.
45. it will give the same result. If we count from the reverse way, it will give the same result. Okay, we can
Yes.
add and subtract. Both will be correct. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now we have computed the cumulative frequency. Okay. Now there is a practice session. This is consider this data point, create the data table and in frequency. Okay. And compute the following. This will be the practice for you. You have to solve it in your home and you have to submit before next class tomorrow. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Everyone note down the
Okay, sir.
problem here.
Yes, sir.
Or even solve it here also. So we have already discussed the class interval. Class interval is the difference between our upper class boundary minus lower class boundary. Another one is class frequency. We have again discussed. This is the number of observations per class. Then class limit. Class limit is the upper both end of the class interval. Okay. Then class boundary. Class boundary is the lower class limit minus half d. D is the difference between two class, distance between two class, and upper class boundary will be upper class limit plus half d. Okay, then class width. Class width is the difference between the class boundary. Class mid value is the average of the class limit, upper class
Two
limit
boundaries, yeah.
and lower. Yes,
Upper plus lower by 2.
not boundary. Class mid value is the average between upper class limit and lower class limit. Okay.
By 2. Yes, average.
Yes, sir.
Then frequency density is the ratio between frequency of a particular class divided by the class width. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Then
sir.
frequency percentage.
Just multiply the previous thing by 100.
Yes. And last one is cumulative frequency. So I have discussed each and every point.
Yes, sir.
Now you can solve it.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So have you noted down the problem?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Everyone done?
Done, sir.
Yes, sir.
So we can move forward, right?
Yes, sir, we can.
So up to this, we have discussed the data representation in table, whether it is normal data or group data. Okay. So in case of normal data, we have very simple steps. Just simply count the frequency for each and every occurrences and put it in the table. But in case of group data, we'll have to decide the class first, then class interval, then class frequency, class limit, everything we'll have to decide. So we can do this, right?
Yes, sir, we
Now-
can do it.
We can do this, right? Okay. So now we have another one is data representation using graph. Okay. So in this case, there is a common code. Goal is to turn data into information and information into insights. That means with visual identifications, we can say anything. So there is a questions for you. Why do we understand graphical representation of data? We can represent data in table. Then where is the necessity of graphical representation? Can anyone guess? Answer?
Sir, it's easier to understand.
Bunch of data.
Yes, very good. It is very easy to understand. Which is may not be possible using table. Okay? If the data length is very high.
Yes, sir.
Then any other reason?
So you'll understand it like systematically also.
Systematically, very good. So this two reason is enough. Other reason is not required. There is multiple reasons, but other reason is not required at all. This two reason is enough to represent the data in graphs. Very first one is make the data easy to understand for everyone. The next one is It helps us to understand very quickly. Just observe and decide what is there. Okay. And next one is data displayed by graphical representation can be memorized for a long time. अगर डेटा टेबल में है तो टेबल में बहुत सारा डेटा एक साथ होता है तो कोई भी डेटा हम अलग अलग से आइडेंटिफाई नहीं कर पाते हैं. ओके, वी कैन नॉट सेपरेट द
सही
डेटा.
बात है.
ओके, so graph help us to memorize the trend, basically trend, not individual data, basically trend. Okay, and can be compared at a glance. Just observe and compare it. Okay, so I have a graph here. Tell me what you understand from this graph. Okay, this is a graphical representation of a particular steps. What you understand from this graph?
Which graph, sir?
Sir, a process.
This is image. This image.
Yeah, it's a process, a sales process. The
It's a sales
prospect
process.
is the most
This is a 7-step
important.
sales process, which
Yeah.
includes
Yes.
prospect leading qualifications, company research, pitch, objection handling, close and
Nurturing.
nurturing.
Yes. So basically, if you have the idea regarding prospects, regarding lead qualification, company research, pitch, object handling, then close and nurturing. So this is basically 7 steps of sales process, right? So if anybody give you this particular sequence, so which one will come after which, and you have the idea for this particular processes, then you can easily observe this one and you can follow it, right? So for
Yes, sir.
you need not
Yes,
to
sir.
study a long story. You can easily observe this one and you can follow the steps, and it will lead to the sales process, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I have another graph for you. So you must conclude something from this graph. Okay, this one. This is basically advertising revenue data of Amazon. Okay, I hope you know what is Amazon.
Yes, sir. It's an online
now.
company.
Yes, very good. Now tell me what you understand from this particular graph.
Sir, we understand the advertisement revenue growth, sir, of the company.
But it's harder to understand it this way.
In
Yes,
this graph,
Year-wise growth.
Sir, the graph is a little too small.
Yes, sir. Very small.
Yes,
We
sir.
need to zoom in and
What
see.
conclusions?
no, you just forgot about data. Okay, you just line is
We can see the growth, the rise and the fall of the company.
Revenue growth. Yes, sir.
revenue growth. Okay.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Look
Yes,
here.
sir.
In this graph, we have two different color of line. One is red color. This is right. Another
That
one
is ad.
blue.
Yes,
Advertisement charge.
Red one
Another one
is
is
ad.
blue. Okay. In the blue
Yes.
color, look here. This is advertisement revenue. Blue color indicates advertisement revenue, and red color indicates other advertisement, other क्या बोलते हैं इसको? Year ending of sales. Okay.
Yes.
So two different parameters is representing this particular graph. So from this graph, we can easily understand that the advertising growth is in increasing trend, right?
Yes.
In
Yes,
different
sir.
quarter,
Yes,
in
sir.
different quarter, if you observe, then it will be in increasing trend, whatever it is, whatever the value is. Okay. So forget about the value.
We can
Just-
easily compare.
We can easily observe this one and easily compare also. How we
Yes.
compare? From this
By
point,
seeing the growth.
from this point it is growing, but from this point it is
Decreasing.
decreasing. So you can easily compare this one. Is in graph, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So this is the advantage here.
Yes.
Using
Everyone
graph,
can understand
compared to
this.
tables. Yes. And if we observe this particular one, look at this is from 46% to 65%. This is increasing. This is again increasing, then sharp decreasing. Next
Yes.
quarter, then again decreasing, then increasing, then slow increasing, then fast increasing, like this. So we can easily observe the trend here, how it moves. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So meaning of graphical representation here. The very first one is the picture. This is basically a picture which is very effective. If we put this simple data, if we put this data in a table and produced in front of you, we cannot observe this trend easily, right?
Yes, sir.
So graphical representation will give this idea very clearly. So when we have the data in table and we put it in the graph, then graph will be more effective than table. Okay. Next one is graph representation is geometrical image or of set of data. Basically geometrical set of data, because to draw a graph we may need to have minimum two axes. One is x-axis, another one is
Y-axis.
y-axis. So based on this we'll have to plot it. So basically geometrical. If we consider this x-axis as the year on year data and y-axis is the sales value, then we can put like this or this, whatever trend it is following, we can easily draw this one. So this is basically representing the geometrical data of sales value. Okay. Next one is mathematical picture. Mathematical view, because this is the combination of x and y value. If x is 1 and y is 1, then we can put the value here. So this is basically mathematical combination.
Yes, sir. Coordinate geometry.
Yes, coordinate geometry.
Coordinate.
Very good. Then it enables us to think about statistical problem in visual terms. We can observe and we can say what is there. Whether it is increasing trend, decreasing trend, we are making loss, we are making profit. So depending on the graph, what is there in the graph, we can easily say. Okay. So basically, and last one is it is an effective and economic device for presentation, understanding and interpretation of the collected data. We have 5,000 informations. If we put these 5,000 informations in a table, so it will be very difficult for us to draw meaningful conclusions unless and until we draw the graph or draw in a pictorial form, so that it can be observed in a single point. Okay. So it is very effective. Okay. Graphical representation can be of two different forms. Okay. We have already understand. Very first one is for ungrouped data. We have line graph, we have bar graph, and we have pie graph or circle graph. So if our data is ungrouped, then we have these three graphs to represent data. And if our data is grouped data, then we have another type of curve. The very first one is histogram, second one is frequency polygon, and third one is frequency curve. Okay, so these three curve for ungrouped data and three for group data we have. So we will learn each and every one by one. So I'm going to start with the very basic one, line graph. Okay, so what is line graph? Line graph is the simple mathematical graph which have two different axes. If we consider this one as this one, line graph, two different axes, x and y, and we are going to put the value on the curve based on the combination. Okay, based on the combination. So if we put it here, x and x1, x value 1, y value 1, then this is the point. Then y value, x value 1, 2, y value 2, this is another point. And now what we do here, we just simply join these 2 points and it will create the line. So that's why it is called line graph. Okay. Look at this example here. There are 10 students and marks obtained by the students. So we have to plot this number of marks obtained by the students in a graph. Okay. So in this case, we have two different axes. This is x-axis and this is y-axis. In y-axis, I put it the marks obtained by the students, and in x-axis, the student number. This is student roll number you can consider. Okay. Now for the very first one, marks obtained is 43. So put it here, 43 here. This is 43. Okay. And for second one, marks obtained is 27. So this is 27. Now look, this is 43 and this is 27. So if we draw this line, this is form a line, this form a line, okay? Then again for third one, this is 33, put the line and join again. For fourth one, it is 31, then 30, fifth one, then sixth one, it is 39, then seventh one is 29, reduce, okay? Then eighth one is 26, the ninth is 38, and 10th is 42.
42.
So we can easily draw this one, line graph, right?
Yes, sir. It is easy.
It is very easy.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
The thing is, we'll have to understand the axis, x-axis and y-axis, and put the value and join with line. That's why it is line graph. Okay. In line graph, there will be multiple combinations. So we will discuss, if the situation comes, we'll definitely discuss the other combinations. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And this is today, and I'm not going to discuss anything more today. Okay. Now tell me if there is any issue up to this.
No, sir.
No, sir,
No,
no issue.
no
No issue, sir.
All clear, sir.
No issue?
Sir, you are teaching.
Nice
What
teaching,
issue will be
sir.
there?
Everything
No,
we
sir.
are understanding.
Yes, sir.
Okay, very
All
good.
clear.
Now
All clear, sir.
I expect everyone must solve the problem before entering the next class tomorrow. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, when is
Sure,
next
sir.
class?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow there is
Tomorrow.
another class. I don't know when it is.
We'll complete now only, sir. Why tomorrow? Now
Yes,
only. we'll
sir.
do.
We will submit
Okay,
it
now
today
only-
only,
I'll
sir.
do it, sir.
Okay.
We'll do it now only.
Okay. But I want everyone to complete it before entering the next class tomorrow. Okay.
Sir, if you have any doubts
Sir.
while
Yes.
doing it, if you have any doubts while solving it, then
Then we'll discuss tomorrow.
okay, sir.
Fine, sir.